Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and to this build of the Antonov, the conversion to the RC from the combustion engine design. So in this one I have to face it, I have to do the electronics, I have to fix the motor connector, one there. I have not managed to find any lighter ESC. I wanted to find here locally, I haven't found anything smaller, so I'm afraid I'll go with this huge one, which is a 30 amp, which is going to require some changes. The connector to the battery, I have a different one, so I've got to figure that out. I might need to go and buy some more parts. I've got here one receiver, which is, I think it's a 4-channel only. I could potentially pull on one out from the other models that I have for a 6-channel, but I think 4 channels should be enough. And servos. I have 2 of these small servos that I believe I'm deciding I'm going to put it in the lower wing for stability, and because then the cabling will be a little bit easier than pulling them up to the top wing. So that's a challenge for this part. Electronics is always a bit of a challenge for me because I don't know it so well, but nothing better to learn than to get on with it. So let me get on with it, and I'll show you when I have some progress to show. The electronics is still a very daunting part for me. One thing I realized, I showed you before, this receiver, this only has 3 channels, so I can't use it for this model because I wanted to have ailerons, rudder, elevator and engine, so I need at least 4 channels, so that can be for something else. So what I've done, I've taken apart the little glider, and I've taken this 6-channel receiver. It's the cheap one, it's only got 1 antenna. I've got another one somewhere that has 2 antennas. I realize that I have a lot of electronics stuck in airplanes that have never flown, like the Cub and the Hurricane, but we'll get to that. I've also got the splitter cable, which will also extend. It's quite a long one, so actually it will also extend then the cables to be sure to reach out to the elevator, sorry, to the ailerons. What I've done also, I've done some soldering. So there was one connector here missing on the motor, and I've soldered it in. And I've also changed the connector, the battery connector on the ESC. What I've also done, because it's quite a heavy thing. I was weighing it before. I think it's like 28 grams, a 30 amp, and some of you are saying that I probably need like 1/3 of that. So I've gone online and ordered some more equipment. I think I've ordered 3 for 15 amps, maybe something like that, hoping that is enough. And also some more of these receivers, because I do hope to go on building, and I don't think it will get cheaper anytime soon, right? So I've done that, but in the meantime I have to make do with this. If I get the other receiver kind of in a reasonable time, then ESC, then I will also then use it. One thing that I still have to do is I need to calibrate this ESC, because I haven't done it, and when I was testing it, good news is that the connections did work, even if they're very messy. You can't really see it because I covered it up, right? But my soldering skills are really very weak. The power would go on like 1/4, maybe 1/3 of the throttle up, so that probably means that I need to figure out how to calibrate this ESC, so that's probably what I'm going to do next. And then I've got to figure out where I'm going to put everything in. Well, some things are kind of evident, right? Like the engine will go here. The ESC, the engine will go here. The ESC, I want to squeeze it in here. I don't know if you can see it. And then have here the battery to have it somehow and use it maybe for center of gravity. It's still going to be the heavy part, but yes. And then what I was thinking, because I have this empty space behind the motor and before the battery hatch, so I was thinking I can put in the receiver there. The cowling, I probably will make it that I can remove it. So in case of need I can also switch it out. Wouldn't be needed maybe every single time, but it would be possible. So what I'm thinking is I'll be putting this in like this. This will go out the exhaust pipe if I ever build one, the antennae. And then what I need to do, which is also what I'm going to do next, I'm going to make a hole here so that all the cables can come in and plug into the receiver, right? So that's going to be the aileron cable, this one. It's going to be the elevator and rudder cable, these 2, and it's going to be the ESC cable, this one, right? So quite a lot of cables will be coming in here. So actually the engine cowling will be covering up a lot of those wires, and some of the other wires will go in there. So still some things to do. not so much visible progress, but at least some decisions have been taken, which is the important part also. So let me start to do holes, calibrate things, and try to set things up. Maybe the engine I can already put it in and see what it looks like. And here we are. So I've assembled all the electronics. It's still not sitting quite straight. I probably need to put in some magnets for the canopy, but let's see if you can at least hear the servos. That would be the elevator. Have to probably invert it, I think. This would be the rudder, and the motor, it's working. It's blowing things off the table. So I've managed to get all the connections in, so let me take it apart so that I can show you what it looks like, which is very messy. So I'll turn off the transmitter and start to take things apart. So the canopy, it's not complaining, so battery out. I've put the weight on the tail because everything is so heavy in the nose that it tips over. I'm going to take the propeller off. The clearance with the cowling is very minimum. I thought it was going to be more. I thought I had ample space, but no. But let me take off the propeller hub and the propeller, because only like that I can take the cowling off and show you all the spaghetti ball that is in here with all the cables. So take the cowling off, which is easier said than done, without damaging anything, I hope. And then, as I was mentioning, so I put in the receiver here in the top compartment. There's a hole there, I don't know if you can see, there's a hole that is probably smaller than it should be. It actually, making those holes takes quite some effort. On the underside, then I have the spaghetti ball of the engine cables and the ESC, and the cowling holes zoom in kind of nicely, but it is, as you can see, a very big spaghetti ball. And then all the cables for the servos go back. The biggest challenge, or one of the biggest challenges, was actually to make that hole in here. Let's see if I point at it. To put the cables for the ailerons, because they're quite thick cables, and if I'd known it before, I would have done it before I installed that piece, right? So not afterwards. So like that, it was not easy with the needle nose filing away. I've configured, I've set up a new profile, a new airplane on the transmitter, and basically from the perspective of electronics, we're kind of good to go. I'm convinced I'm going to have to take it apart again for one reason or another, and also if I do get then a smaller ESC, I might replace it because it is very big and chunky in there, and also heavy. I'm not sure how it's going to be with weight, but anyhow, at the moment it's nose heavy. As I say, if I take off the weight from the rear, it will nose over directly. Hopefully no damage. Did I damage something? Yeah, I did. I broke here this piece, but well, I think I can live without it, let's say it like that. So it's going to nose over, and then what I can potentially do for the next steps is to start to do the covering with the stringers of the underside of the fuselage, that it somehow, maybe not, this part can stay without, this part I might also leave it without, so that I can reach at the electronics, but then the rear part of the fuselage, maybe I can put in already some of the stringers. In any case, that's it for the moment. The electronic part, challenging for me as always, and then the next steps, we'll see. It's sooner or later I'm going to have to start the wings, right? It's an airplane, so I'm going to have to do the wings and put on the tail on it. So as always, thank you everybody very much for watching and for following along and for your encouragement, and I'll see you next time.